indeed, Michael. I'm honoured to have Michael Moore as both a very good friend and as our Secretary of State for Scotland. You know, Michael would be doing his job if he wasn't being attacked by the Labour Party. My message on that is very simple: keep at it. Because Michael's honesty, his integrity and his authority will always come across. Michael Moore, a great sort, working for Scotland. Well, it's great to be back here in Perth again. Last week I was honoured to sign a declaration with the other party leaders supporting Perth as Scotland's newest city. Perth's Lord Provost and our Deputy Provost, Willie Wilson, were there. Willie lent me a pen, his best level biro. But it was great to be able to support a local campaign, a local city, which is positive about its future. So from Scotland's soon-to-be 7th city to Scotland's #1 island, Brescia, my home. Now, I was at Eliar in Brescia last Friday. That's when we burn a Viking galley and celebrate our Scandinavian heritage a lot. Strange, you might think, but it goes rather deeper than the smell of paraffin as the torches light and the singing of the Norseman's home. Shetland's a place where a visitor is someone to welcome, speak with, understand, where a healthy interest in that outside world is not just because a litre of petrol is £1.48, but a place who took on the Labour government as they sought to deport a personable young Thai man who was and is part of Shetland and won. A place where traditional music, played brilliantly, goes hand in hand with the visiting Mumford and Sons, where fishing matters economically and socially, where crofting, the way of life, is a pride in the quality of livestock or wool for the knitting industry and the camaraderie of the sheep sales. An island, Shetland, Scotland, the UK, a maritime nation. Once it was Viking galleys. Today it's vast oil and gas tankers, exploration of new fields in the western frontier. But it's still the nightly ferry south to Aberdeen and transport social and cultural links to mainland Scotland and further afield. Now, what does all that heritage tell me? That a maritime nation needs Coast Guard stations such as Lerwick, and the UK government must recognise that as we go forward. But this is the place where I grew up, where my instincts were forged and where my values took root. In Shetland, we care about people. We look out for each other. We look out for elderly neighbours. We want our children to have the best possible start. We look outwards, not inwards. And we look to the long term, not the short term. These are the fundamental values that shape my politics. And these are the values that I want to see take root across Scotland. Now, there's one other traditional side to Eliar, the bill, a proclamation. It comments on the year that's been, and it pokes fun, it has to be said, at the good and the great. It features a section entitled Things We Want to Know. It's an idea I thought we should adopt here at conference. So here's a tentative list of things we want to know. Now that Alistair Carmichael is Comptroller of Her Majesty's household, does that mean he will be serving the canapes at the royal wedding? When A.L. Kennedy campaigned to be Glasgow University's rector against our Charles Kennedy on a no cuts, no fees and opposition to the Iraq war ticket, did Charles feel someone was trampling on his turf? Is a seat in the House of Lords a reward or a punishment for leading the Scottish Lib Democrats? And when two Liberal youth members, Callum Leslie and James Harrison, were elected to student union posts just last night, why isn't that on the front page of all our newspapers today? Scotland's new Parliament will be elected Greens face tough challenges. Labour's failure to stop out-of-control bankers and their reckless spending means we're all hurting. Every man, woman and child owing £22,000, £120 million a day, flooding out of the UK just to cover the interest on our debt. That 120 million could build 12 new primary schools every day. That's the challenge the country faces. That's the challenge the Liberal Democrats are ready for. That's the challenge that we will meet. Because on May the 6th, the day after polling, Scotland will demand that we work together to sort out the mess, to balance the budget, to make the right choices, to take the hard decisions, to deliver the solutions for Scotland. It would be all too easy to make hollow promises, to be inventive with a few figures, to adjust the odd square bracket. We will not go down that road. We must live within our means, not promising money we just don't have. Scotland deserves better. Scotland deserves honesty. So our manifesto will explain what we would do for Scotland, how we will tackle the challenges the nation faces. Anything else simply wouldn't be good enough. And we'll do that in this way, with three core Liberal principles. First, local people know what's best for their areas, not bureaucrats and Hollywood. Second, solutions for Scotland that last, not hollow quick fixes that achieve nothing. And third, every Scot, whatever their background, should have the chance to make the most of their lives. A government determined to see a brighter future for Scotland, a sustainable future for Scotland, a prosperous Scotland. These key values define the Scotland, for the government for Scotland, I would want to shape. And the starting point? Well, that's easy. We need that growing economy. I've met people from Baltsound to Badenoch, from Portlethen to Prestwick, and everyone shares the same worries. Their future, their job, their kids. Rising prices on the basic things we depend on at the shops. Taking the kids on holiday, filling up the car to get to work. Fuel prices are hitting every aspect of life hard. Nobody knows what will happen in the Middle East, but we may have to face still further rises. So that's why the UK government must take action on fuel prices. This is a tough period. Just this morning, Peter Hughes from Scottish Engineering has spoken of the struggle small firms have with their banks. Ticked out in suits, he says. Small business held back by lack of support. But as with any journey, the first step is recognising what has gone wrong and why it's gone wrong. Acknowledging that things need to change, that they must change. There's no quick fix, there's a huge amount to do. Not enough has changed in these last 4 years. Why are small businesses ignored by the Scottish Government's economic agencies? Yet time and time again, they prove to be the backbone of the nation's economy. Why does a tourism development in Inverness take 9 months to get planning permission? Why does a food processor I visited have to spend every working day dealing with the paperwork created by 23 separate government bodies? And why did this current Scottish Government give £7 million subsidy to Tesco Bank when they made £3,000 million profit last year? It's not really an economic policy, more an expensive SME photo opportunity. But I have a better approach, a plan for growing Scotland's economy. The new government I want to help build will have to get on with this. Scotland can't wait. That's why we have committed to a 30-day action plan for jobs. Real change, real fast solutions for Scotland. In those 30 days from May, we will give reform to the support we give to enterprise, to set up the development banks, to get money to thousands of small businesses who have been let down by their banks. A stronger role for local colleges to deliver skills, training and investment shaped by the needs of the area. A reform bill to allow local companies access to a fair share of government contracts. Change the regulation to free up business to grow and create jobs. That's worth 10,000 new jobs, so that's what we'll do. Build the digital transport and language links we need for a new target on exports, a renewed commitment to renewable energy to capture the prize of Scotland and the jobs that come with it. We will give local communities and councils a real incentive to support business in their areas by letting them keep the extra rates that come from growth. We will examine the potential for business rate holidays for the tourism industry aimed at keeping Scotland open all year round. We will keep the small business bonus and look to extend it to help other business too. And we will guarantee that all businesses get rates relief whenever the national government signs off a tax hike. Never again will a hotel in Argyll or a restaurant in Peebles face a rates increase of 120% as they had to under the SNP. 30 days, every minister expected to have driven action within 30 days of taking office. Every strand of government, every part of our country, investing in the future, creating real, lasting work. Liberal Democrats want a government that promotes jobs, every kind of work in every part of Scotland, solutions for Scotland that get Scotland working. The other parties have conferences that follow ours. So I make this offer today. Whatever happens on the 5th of May, Scotland needs action on jobs. So I will work with others on our 30-day plan. I ask that the other parties commit to action with us on Scottish jobs. Scotland needs the best of what we can all offer. To put party politics before the needs of our people in these times isn't right, and we just won't do it. Conference Strengthening Scotland's Economy is about the skills and ambition we need. I've seen the difference between inspirational school teachers and those who just don't cut it. The difference between kids who enjoy what they do, what they learn, and how they grow, and those who don't get that chance. The difference between a school of excellence, motivated parents, and a committed community, and the opposite. I've spent a lot of time over the past year talking to head teachers, visiting staff groups, listening to mums, dads, and pupils. Some of education is about government. Less, far less, bureaucratic hassle. Giving teachers more space to restore the excellence that every parent wants. Ensuring teachers spend more time teaching your children and less time picking up the phone from the government. Do you know that the government issued 600 pages of instructions to every head teacher across Scotland just last year? That included not one, but 2 letters to remind them where Standards Day was. It's not 600 letters that education ministers should do, it's 600 lines. I must not keep sending letters to head teachers. Restoring excellence in education is about investing in school leadership, making sure we help the brightest and best to lead in every school, to create local schools of excellence, central to their local community. Scotland's best head teachers need greater powers, where it matters, in the classroom, the difference between passing standard grade chemistry or not being interested at all. Scotland has trained a bright, educated and motivated new workforce of young